Good morning, everyone. I am James Rufert and Reves, and I'll be one of your facilitators for today's discussion. So, before we proceed, I'd like to ask everyone to please bow their heads and participate for our short prayer. Okay, thank you all. So, may I please ask the class secretary, Ms. Africano, if there are any absentees for today's discussion? Okay, good. So I'm glad that no one is absent and everyone is here to participate for today's discussion. Okay, so before we move on to our lesson proper, I want to introduce to you our objectives for today's lesson. So first one is give the appropriate communicative styles in a situation. Second is construct phrases used in different communicative styles. And last, value the importance of each communicative styles in real-life situations. So by the end of this session, you are expected to meet the learning objectives that I have presented just now. Okay, so let's move on. So before we fully dive into the lesson proper, let's have ourselves energized first by the game that we have prepared, which is charades. So I'm pretty sure that everyone here is familiar with this game. So is anyone not familiar to this game? Okay. So for those who are not familiar, I'll be happy to read the direction for you. So the direction is group yourselves into 4 groups, gather your members and assign one person to act out the mystery word to be given by the teacher, which is me, for 1 minute. The player can use gestures, facial expressions, and body movements to convey the word or phrase given. So please take note that you are not to use your mouth or any sounds that you can make. So you will just rely mainly on gestures, facial expressions, and body movements to convey the word or phrase given. So are you ready, everyone? Alright, good. May I please call on here the group of Mr. Feliciano? Yes, you are the first group. And your word is... Okay, so the timer starts now. Alright, I'm hoping everyone now here is energized and are ready to listen to our lesson proper. Okay, let's move on. Communicative styles.
Hi, this is Teacher Hannah. So you may be wondering what the words that were presented earlier during the charades are. So there are 5, if you can still remember. There is the word intimate. Next is casual, consult or consultative, formal, and then frozen. So what are these? These communicative styles actually indicates the level of formality or what words you use during a conversation. So these styles are actually founded by the Dutch linguist Martin Joos himself. So he cited these communicative styles and also called it as what? What can we see on the screen? Language registers. So the first one is the intimate. So when we say intimate communicative styles, this is usually used between people who are very close to each other, kind of like siblings, friends, best friends, okay? And then parents to their children, husband and wife, boyfriends and girlfriends. This type of communication doesn't really need further information to understand each other. They can clearly understand it in just a glimpse like that. Even even a nonverbal communication counts because in intimate communication, there's this level of familiarity that is really high. Okay, unlike the other ones that I'm going to teach you later. Because in intimate, these are kinds of people who see each other every day, and you don't really use words that are too formal in this kinds of situation. Oh, you can also hear endearments during their conversations, such as babe, love, dear, honey, or in siblings, sis, bro, or in a peer communication, you can hear um, die, or what else? Can you share? Yeah, that is also used, right? Okay, so next is casual. So when we say casual communicative styles, this is used between friends, colleagues, and neighbors. This can also be used with your neighbors, someone who you often surrounded with, but not as often to those who live in your house. Okay, so there's this informality right there, but the kind of words you used with your sibling, so there's still some kind of let's say respect, or like you're being careful with it. Participants may use group language only that the group understands. So basically, these are jargon, slangs, or vernacular language, or even inside jokes. They can only understand with inside their circle, okay? So the tone is conversational and interruptions are very common. So this is informal, yet you don't really reveal everything, or you don't act as if you're alone, because in intimate you can act freely, you're comfortable, but in casual you're a bit more enclosed, so you don't give out your vulnerability that much. Okay, so also nicknames are used in addressing one another. Okay, next is consultative. So this one is what, formal or informal? Okay, so it can be both depending on the situation, but usually this is in a formal setting. Let's say a teacher and a student, a patient and a doctor, a legal counselor, and a client. So in here, it happens in two-way participation, and it is used in semi-formal situations in which a speaker needs to provide background information. The listener participates by giving feedback. So that's what we can witness. For example, in a legal counseling, someone a client asks for advice, a legal advice, and then the lawyer um, provides this advice, legal advice, that are substantially helpful towards the client. Okay, so both the speaker and the listener are active participants, because then the client, for example, will have to listen to the feedback while the legal counselor will provide advices. But in order to provide those advices, he or she should first ask what the situation is from the client. Okay, so take note that this style is often used in business or in other professional situations. So next is formal. So in the from the word itself, formal, it is considered the straightforward speech. There is no participation from the listener, and this style is often used in the following formal situations where there is only one-way communication. So where do we usually see this? One-way communication, or isa lang nagsasalita. Yes, in speeches, right, correct. Or let's say orientation, seminar, or an announcement. So in that kind of situation, the level or communication style that is being used is formal. Okay, so do we get the point? Okay, thank you for the response. So next is frozen. So this one is called the oratorical styles. It's the most formal style and is reserved for very formal situations such as during weddings, religious services, court proceedings, and formal ceremonies. So, for example, in weddings, what do you usually hear? Okay, okay, so you may kiss the bride. Mm, how about court proceedings? I object. Okay, so those words are repeatedly being mentioned during this situation. Okay, so this is used to address an audience of absolute strangers. It uses prescribed and highly formal language. In here, statements are learned by heart and mind. So it was also mentioned here that frozen is used in formal ceremonies. So in school, what do you usually observe? What kind of ceremony? Let's say it happens every Monday or every first Monday of the month. Okay, okay, Miss Isabella. Yes, flag ceremony. So, what kind or what are those speeches that you can usually hear in this ceremony, in this particular ceremony, the flag ceremony? Yeah, the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, that's correct. So, can you see the concept of Frozen? So, Frozen is mostly memorized because it's not something that you can change in uh just a blink of an eye like that, because it's something that is respected by everyone. So it is like protected, like the Pledge of Allegiance. Or when we say in weddings, let's say weddings, the term you may kiss the bride, it's like a tradition. So it's not something that you can change, like make it more slang. So it's not acceptable unless it's the theme of the wedding, but it's too rare to see those kinds of things. So yeah, do you have any questions regarding the communicative styles? None. So if that's the case, then you're ready for our activities. So now let's proceed to our activities.
Alright, now that you have learned the 5 communicative styles, let's put your new knowledge to the test. Now, what I want you to do is for you to consider the following situations and identify the communicative style in each conversation, whether it is intimate, casual, consultative, formal, or frozen. Okay? Now let's read the first situation. Everybody read. College student Donna explains her excuse for being absent last Monday to her professor. Now, which communicative style do we use for that? Let's pick somebody to answer. Let's have Harper. What is the answer to the first question? It is consultative. We use the consultative communicative style. Very good. All right, to the next one. Everybody read. A 10-year-old child tells her mom about how much fun she had today at school while eating dinner. Now, what communicative style do we use for that? Let's pick someone to answer again. We have Ava. What is the communicative style that we use for this situation? Again, it is the casual communicative style. Very good. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, now again, everybody read. Lila talking to an employer in a job interview. What communicative style do we use for that? Let's pick somebody to answer. We have Mia. Okay, Mia. What communicative style do we use for this situation? The answer is, again, the answer is formal. Very good. The formal communicative style. Okay, very good. Let's move on to the next one. Lee reciting his school's VMGO at a school event. Now, what communicative style do we use for that? Let's pick somebody. Who are we getting? Emily. Okay, Emily, which communicative style do we use for this situation? It is very good. It's the frozen communicative style. All right. Very impressive, everyone. Let's move on to the last situation, which is Chloe opens up to her partner about the difficulties she's experiencing in their relationship. Now, what communicative style do we use for that situation? Let's pick someone. We have Sophia. What is the answer, Sophia? Tell us, what communicative style do we use for this situation? It is intimate. Very good. Okay, very good. Big claps for everyone for getting all of the right answers. Alright, now to enrich your learnings even more, let's play a little game I like to call Fact or Bluff. Now, I'm going to recite a statement and you are going to tell me whether it is a fact or a bluff. Are you ready? Okay, so for the first one, formal is a straightforward type of speech. Again, formal is a straightforward type of speech. Is it a fact or a bluff? It is a fact because indeed, formal communicative style is a straightforward type of speech. Okay, now for the second one. Frozen is also known as bestie talk. Formal is also known as bestie talk. Is it fact or a bluff? It is a bluff because what is known as bestie talk? It is casual. So this is a bluff. Okay, remember that. Bestie talk is casual communicative style. All right. So for the third one, consultative is a two-way communication. Consultative is a two-way communication. Is it a fact or a bluff? It is a fact, of course. The consultative communicative style is, of course, a two-way communication because how else are you going to consult to somebody if one of you is not allowed to talk, correct? Okay, very good. Now for the fourth one, we have intimate uses a professional tone. Again, intimate uses a professional tone. Is it a fact or a bluff? It is a bluff. Of course, intimate does not use a professional tone, but formal does. Okay, so remember that. So the fifth one is casual is used in wedding ceremonies. Again, casual is used in wedding ceremonies. Is it a fact or a bluff? Which one is it? It's a bluff. And of course, in wedding ceremonies, we use formal communicative styles. Okay? I hope that all of you got the answers right. And of course, always remember these little important details. And you have, it is important for you to know what kind of communicative styles you should use in certain situations. Okay? Alright, now for your next task is you need to group yourselves into two. Okay, so find someone to pair with and pick one communicative style and construct a 1-minute dialogue. Okay, again, group yourselves into two members and pick one communicative style and construct a 1-minute dialogue. Okay, make sure that the dialogue that you create reflects the communicative style of your choice, and make sure to introduce yourselves and your characters before the beginning of your performance. All right? Get constructing! Okay, big rounds of applause for everybody that performed today. It makes me so happy to see that everyone understands our lesson very well, and of course, putting out your acting skills as well. Okay, now for your take home assignment, I want you to draw 5 circles in a one whole sheet of paper and label each of those circles with the names of each communicative style that we discussed today. Okay? Now, after that, write your insights about each of these styles. These insights can include sample situations wherein these communicative styles can be used, but remember to write those that was not already mentioned in today's lesson. Or insights could be when you've used these communicative styles in a past experience, or how you would use them in a future situation. So that is all for today's discussion. Again, I am Triszhana Rhuzhima Deinla. Thank you so much for listening to our lesson today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Bye!